What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're talking Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, the 15th and final film in the DCEU before the complete reboot. Peter Safran and James Gunn, they're going to be rebooting this entire universe. So these 15 films in the DCEU are going to be within their own universe, and they will now be completely ignored going forward. We're going to reboot this thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. This universe, I'm going to be talking about in the upcoming videos. I want to rank all 15 movies, but today we're going to be focusing on the final one, which is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. I wasn't even going to go see this in theaters, but then I decided I wanted to rank the universe. And I was like, well, I've seen every single one except this and Blue Beetle. So I went and bought Blue Beetle on Blu-ray. I started that one. Couldn't finish it. Not loving it so far. But I did go to the theaters to check out Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So I will have my thoughts on that movie, and we're going to do it right now. Straight up, I wasn't a huge fan of the original Aquaman, of the first Aquaman. I know I think it was a pretty popular movie. I think it got pretty good reviews. Most of the YouTubers I watch seem to like it. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I liked the actor. Now I'm forgetting, it's Jason Momoa. I liked him as Aquaman. I thought he was fun, and I thought it was entertaining to watch him in the role, but I thought that the script was not that great, and there was just things about it I didn't really love. In fact, I might need to watch it again to remember when I do my ranking, but I know I wasn't a fan of the first Aquaman, and I haven't seen it since, and I never bought it. So I saw it in theaters, didn't watch it since. This one, I had even more negative thoughts going out of the theater, although it wasn't a total piece of shit. Mainly the visuals, and I don't give movies a ton of credit these days unless they had a relatively low budget and they were able to still do something amazing with the camera, with the special effects. Then okay, I'll give a little props there. But when you're working with a freaking $200 million, $300 million budget, whatever it is, I mean, obviously the special effects are going to be pretty good, and they are. I mean, the visuals are pretty stunning. The colors are awesome, vivid, and really cool to look at. There are a couple moments I have to mention, though, where they go so ambitious with some of what's happening on screen that it starts to look a little like a good video game, but a video game nonetheless, like a PS5, video game, like a a PS2 level, like The Flash. But it goes to a point where sometimes there's a scene where Nicole Kidman's character is just being pulled by something. I don't remember. I couldn't even tell what was going on. It was just so wild. It was just moving a million miles an hour underwater, and there was just flashes of light and everything was going on, and it just kind of looked fake because like Nicole Kidman's not actually in that situation, and it just started to look a little fake. But other than a few moments like that, I think that the visuals were pretty cool, pretty awesome to look at. Jason Momoa is again pretty good in the role, although this time it takes it to a silly point, a little bit over the top. I mean, did he have to get piss in his mouth 3 separate times? And the rest of the cast was just fine in this one. Dolph Lundgren is in this one, doesn't get a ton of screen time. Like, nobody really gets a ton of screen time. He doesn't get a ton of screen time. Amber Heard doesn't get a ton of screen time. I think she got a lot of her scenes cut for some of the Johnny Depp controversy off the screen. And then, Nicole Kidman, not a whole ton of screen time. I think most of it was given to Jason Momoa and the Ocean Master, his brother, played by Patrick Wilson. Had to look his name up. So I thought that the cast was fine, but the relationship between Patrick Wilson and Jason Momoa's characters, pretty interesting, because obviously in the first movie, they were kind of enemies. They were enemies because Patrick Wilson is Jason Momoa's brother in the movie. So Ocean Master is Aquaman's brother, and he's the more obvious future king. He's kind of into the politics and into all that, whereas Jason Momoa's character, obviously Aquaman, is more the party bro, just chilling, just doing my thing, So it seemed like Aquaman wasn't the best king, and in fact, here in this movie, he's not really loving it as king. He's kind of like not feeling it. He's falling asleep and stuff. He's like, it's boring, all this politics and stuff, not taking it too seriously. But there comes a point where he needs the Ocean Master's help. So he goes bust him out of prison. I like that part. I like the scene where he goes to bust him out and he's looking all frail and all skinny, and he looks like Tom Hanks from the movie Castaway. And there's even, I thought about that before the joke, and then I started laughing because it was one of the few jokes that landed when Aquaman is like, come on now, grab Wilson, let's go. So that was pretty funny, okay, I'll give it that. But most of the humor didn't really land for me, so I did think their relationship was interesting. Busting him out was interesting, and then once water was able to hit him and he turns into a beast was pretty cool because it looked like he was just gonna die and he needed to get to water. At first he's like, did you bring some water? And a little funny line, did you bring some water? Aquaman's like, no, I drank it all, man. What? It's hot out here. But of course, you know, he's messing with him because he needs water to be able to turn back into the freaking beast that he is, so he can actually, you know, defend himself instead of this weak, you know, dying, like shriveled up, just shell of his former self that was in prison. So that was it. That relationship was interesting. The villain, same kind of story as the first one. He's still trying to avenge the death of his father, talking about Black Manta. So that was pretty much the same deal there. He's more powerful now for reasons. So that makes it a little more interesting, and then there's a few funny moments here and there, okay? But by and large, the humor kind of falls flat. I'd give the humor like a D+. I mean, it's not a total F-bomb in the humor department, but I think it goes over the top with the silliness to bring us into our negatives. I mean, there are just moments where it looks like a Men in Black movie, like weird aliens, weird creatures. I mean, I guess that's kind of part of it, but they make them more comical, and it's almost like Men in Black. And then there's a scene that's just ripped straight out of Star Wars. I don't know whether they had to pay royalties or something. This is absolutely straight out of Return of the Jedi, Jabba the Hutt's palace, the Max Rebo band. They had the band playing, looking very similar with the girl up front doing her weird moves and singing. I was like, even before Jabba the Hutt shows up, and it's not, you know, really Jabba the Hutt, but it's basically the big fat beast there. And I think it's Martin Short doing the voice. I mean, you had the Max Rebo man, you had Jabba the Hutt, you had the bar atmosphere. It was straight out of Star Wars. I'm like, what? Dude, I mean, it's crazy. Like, can Disney sue here? Like, Disney doesn't own DC, right? Disney owns Marvel. So, like, what's going on?
You stole my story.
But anyway, it was more humorous. It was straight a parody, straight up a Family Guy parody of Jabba the Hutt in Star Wars. So that scene happened. Wasn't that funny? It was just kind of like shocking to see because it was so exactly out of Star Wars. But other than that, I mean, the film's kind of all over the place. The pacing is not that great. And I'm just trying to kind of make my way through it and, enjoy the visuals. And some of the fight scenes are pretty cool. There are some cool fight scenes. I mean, it's not a complete piece of crap. It's somewhere in the middle, lower half, I would guess, of the DCEU when it comes to my rankings. There's also another character who gets quite a bit of screen time. I think his name is Dr. Shin in the movie. And he's like a scientist who's helping Black Manta, but kind of against his will. He's not into all this bad stuff that's happening, but he just keeps seeing these old relics and stuff every time he sees them. Anything cool underwater, it's just like amazing, astonishing, incredible. He has a few funny lines. I kind of like that character, but nothing special. I mean, but he got more screen time than any of the main characters, like as far as Nicole Kidman or any of those characters, or even Amber Heard. He got more screen time than any of them, so he was a pretty big part of the movie. But it did create a little something interesting that he was there working for Black Manta, but he kind of made it clear that he's not into it. I'm surprised Black Manta didn't just kill him, but maybe he needed him for his, scientific skills, so he needed him on board. It was pretty obvious his heart wasn't in it, so at some point you knew that was going to come to a head there and something was going to happen, and it did, and it was okay, done. I mean, like I said, the movie's okay. It's all right. It's all right. All in all, I think I liked the first one a little better, but I actually need to rewatch it. That's not a guarantee. I need to rewatch it. It's been a while. But when I first stepped out, I thought this was even worse. But as I review it here, I remember quite a few scenes that were somewhat enjoyable. I may need to rewatch the first one, which might mean I need to buy it. I don't have no streaming services. I got Paramount Plus. That's it. So I might need to go buy that or a Blu-ray or something. So, or rent it and stream it, rent it. So we'll see. But let me know your thoughts down below here on this one, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Look, as far as I can tell, I'm not going to say pass, but see it if you're bored. I mean, it's not great. The humor is cringe. There's a baby in the movie who's really cute and kind of funny, but sometimes, again, that goes overboard into silliness, and interesting ideas in the movie didn't all coalesce that well. Nothing special as far as the final film in the DCEU. They did not plan for this to be the final film when they filmed it, so there's absolutely nothing that would tell you, oh, this is the last film. Nothing special like that, so don't expect that. But all in all, see it if you're bored. But hey, at the end of the day, it's probably a little better than I expected, to be honest with you. So there you have it. That's my review of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Look forward to my review of Blue Beetle as well. I didn't review that one. I didn't even go see that one. Decided to buy it on Blu-ray after I heard reviews. It said it was so funny, it was so good, it was surprisingly good. And I'm not feeling it through the first 15-20. Maybe it'll get better though. So I'll have my review on that, but that could be a pretty negative review. We'll have to wait and see if this thing improves. But I definitely wasn't feeling it for a variety of reasons. But and then all the other movies I've seen, I haven't reviewed them all, but maybe at some point I will. But I definitely want to do a ranking before the end of the year. So let me know what you guys think down below, and we'll talk to you next time.